Hello, and welcome to the session on designing employee experience. This particular session is about understanding the fundamentals of employee experience, which is basically what, why, and how. But before we start, a brief introduction about me. I am Reetu Verma from Delhi, and I am a strategic HR leader, an author, speaker, and an experienced life coach. My 21 plus years of work experience in corporate spans across ITES, IT, telecom, and education industry, and I expertise in strategic HR business partnership and managing end-to-end operational excellence. Now let's begin. As I said, this particular module 1 is about introduction and understanding the fundamentals, the components, importance, and strategies to improve. Now, why are we talking about employee experience now? What has changed? The COVID-19 crisis exposed gaps in companies' strategies, and one of the most impacted areas was the employee experience. A recent survey held by iSolved, a human capital management platform, interviewed 500 HR leaders and found out that 92% confirmed that employee experience is a top priority in 2021. The situation has forced organizations into remote working overnight and have put the organizations at the stage of designing new working models for the future. Companies are developing hybrid work experiences, and employee experience needs to be central to building this future of work. The customer focus was driving success in the past, but now employers are discovering that the best way to achieve customer focus is through the employee focus. The shift also comes from the employee side. These past months, while many employees have been laid off or getting their benefits reduced, other employees have received more attention from their leaders than ever, putting on the spotlight on what really matters for different employers. Employees' expectations from the employer are now different. They are more selective and want to work for companies that prioritize them in the long term. So it is not about whether employees are good enough to work for your company. It is equally about whether your company is good enough for them. This is the underlying perspective you need to have while designing a seamless employee experience. So before we get deeper into the subject, let's understand what is employee experience. Employee experience is the sum of all the interactions an employee has with an employer, including relationships, technology, and the physical work environment. The employee experience is different in every company, but it typically describes the journey across 8 stages. This is very important. There are 8 stages: recruiting, hiring, onboarding, developing, engaging, well-being, performing, and departing. Basically, the complete life cycle of an employee in the organization. And hence, the combination of all that occurs in an employee's life cycle is what defines the employee experience. It starts from the day an employee applies for the job and joins until their last working day. So it is not when an employee enters an organization or starts working, it actually starts from the day he applies for the job. It includes everything that an employee learns, feels, and goes through at work. Also, as most businesses think, it isn't about giving a handsome paycheck. It is now much more than that. So, what are the components of employee experience? Broadly, there are three components that needs focus on to designing a great employee experience in any organization, irrespective of the industry. Number one, company culture. That's one of the most crucial components. Now, company culture is something that connects everyone associated with a company. It defines what it is like to work for a company. It impacts not only employees' performance, but also their level of engagement. Developing company culture is a pivotal part of creating a great employee experience. It influences how people feel about their jobs and their organization. It also forms a vital aspect behind employee satisfaction, motivation, and engagement. Policies, processes, and practices. These are related to trust, transparency, inclusion, and caring. They have to be in proportion to create the required impact on people. These three P's, these three P's must include regular and transparent communications from leaders, demonstration of care for employees, an emphasis on integrity and empathy across an organization, a well-defined company mission, and a culture that cultivates a sense of belonging and inclusion among all employees. Policies, processes, and practices. The second component is the value. It is important to analyze all the 8 stages of an employee life cycle in an organization and add value for the employee in each of them. It is required to measure, check, analyze, and adapt to what people are looking for and deliver an incrementally better experience in each step. The third component is the workplace technology. Most surveys have shown that more than 70% of employees want to continue working remotely. When working remotely, much of the interaction with peers are delivered through technology. So collaborative tools and employee engagement measurement tools are very critical. Companies are using multiple platforms, hence, in many cases, losing the capacity to bring information together and be consistent across the employee experience. Making sure these platforms work well together and serve not only HR purposes, but also throughout the entire operation is critical to enhance. So the 3 components are company culture, the value across 8 stages of the employee life cycle, and third is the workplace technology. So this is the image created by Deloitte that represents the most important X factors. This is the simply irresistible organization model created by Deloitte, and it says that there are 5 most important employee experience factors, which is meaningful work. It may have autonomy, select to fit, small empowered teams, time to Slack. Slack is a communication tool where people interact, formally and informally as well. Second is supportive management, clear and transparent goals, coaching, investment in development of managers, agile performance management. Third is positive work environment, wherein flexible work environment, humanistic workplace, culture of recognition, fair, inclusive, diverse work environment is inclusive. The fourth one is growth opportunity, training and support on the job, facilitated talent mobility, self-directed dynamic learning, high impact learning culture. And ultimately, trust in the leadership, the clear mission and purpose, continuous investment in people, transparent and honest leadership, and inspiration. So the major 5 X factors are meaningful work, supportive management, positive work environment, growth opportunity, and trust in leadership. Now, why the employee experience matters? Why is it important? What are the advantages of having a great employee experience? That is when you have a very strong and impactful employee experience within an organization, the engagement of employees go high. When engagement goes high, the productivity increases. When the productivity increases, the customer experience gets better. It becomes high. It helps in stronger peer relationships, and ultimately all the relationships, be it external or internal, they get better. There is a lot of job satisfaction, and ultimately the profits go higher. And when all of these things go high, the employee turnover gets low, the absenteeism goes low, the burnout and stress of an employee goes low. And when all of these happen, it ultimately gives a great employee experience for the organization, and ultimately the best results and success for the organization as well as for the employees. What do we want to achieve through employee experience? Now, this question answers the why part of it. What is the return on investment? Why should an organization invest in having or building a strong employee experience? There are three aspects to it. One is business outcomes, second is people outcomes, and third is innovation outcomes. These three areas gives you the return on investment. How? The good practices around employee experience can drive significant impact for business, people, and innovation in your organization. The business outcomes impact that their financial targets exceed their goals. They are able to delight the customers, not just giving a good experience, but ultimately giving them a wow experience, delighting them. On people aspect, the employees get the sense of belonging, which is very, very critical. The organization becomes the great place to work. It's more likely that the organization will become a great place to work. People are more engaged, the employees are more engaged, and it becomes easier for the organization to retain employees. And on the aspect of innovation outcomes, it becomes easier for the organization and people to adapt well to the change and innovate effectively, and ultimately taking the organization towards the goals. Now, the bottom line in 2021, what have been the learnings that we must keep it in mind while creating a brilliant or a strong employee experience? One is that employee experience is a business imperative. It is not just a HR program, it is business imperative. Two, make well-being a part of your entire business strategy. Make technology easy and user-friendly. So while 70% or more people are working remotely, it is important that technology has to be easy. Everybody has to adapt to it. However, it also needs to be user-friendly. Invest in programs to help people grow. Invest in their development and their growth. Focus leaders on respect, inclusion, and belonging. And last but not the least, employee experience is not purely a technology initiative. Apart from technology, it is the management, teamwork, and work itself that matters. I hope this bit of the module has helped you learn a bit more about employee experience, the fundamentals of employee experience. The next module continues. Thank you.